Well, we finally got our port for the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games, but hold up. What's the deal with Snake? Who is he? I keep getting all this conflicting information. Is this Snake? The Colonel calls him Snake, but I thought this was Snake. What about this guy? Maybe we should break this down. It was all pretty straightforward until 1998. Snake was this guy, Solid Snake. Most likely named after Escape from New York's Snake Plissken.
Call me Snake.
His appearance kind of kept changing in the game's art depending on what movies Kojima had been watching lately, but he's technically the same character throughout. With the release of Metal Gear Solid, however, the idea of clones was put forth, and the confusion began. The game still features Solid Snake, also known as David, as our protagonist. Sidebar, I thought for the longest time this name was a nod to the voice actor David Hayter. Turns out it's a 2001 reference, just like Hal. Go figure. Anyhow, Solid Snake was revealed in this game to be a clone of the prior game's antagonist, Big Boss. Not only that, but the big bad for MGS1 turns out to be none other than Solid Snake's twin brother, Liquid Snake. And the post-credits scene reveals that there is even a third clone of Big Boss by the name of Solidus, but we'll tuck that one away for a moment. Moving on to MGS2, we start once again with Solid Snake, but pretty quickly move on to another Snake who looks and sounds completely different. In reality, this character, Raiden, basically has no connection with Snake prior to the events of this game, and this was mostly just a temporary title to confuse fans of the previous games. But as the game progresses, we keep seeing and hearing things to indicate that Solid Snake is in this facility. Also, we meet this guy, Iroquois Pliskin. Just a coincidence. And then eventually we cross paths with Solid Snake once again.
No, that is not Solid Snake.
Alright, memes aside, this is the previously mentioned Solidus Snake, aka George Sears, aka the former President of the United States, and Snake number 4 on our list. From here on out, we technically don't get any new snakes, but other characters are retconned or transformed into snakes. I'll explain. In MGS3, which takes place in the 1960s, we play as a character known as Naked Snake, also known as John or Jack. At the end of the game, John is awarded the title of Big Boss. Yeah, that one. So that's another snake on the board. Up next is MGS4, where we play once again as Solid Snake, but his age has been rapidly accelerated due to how he was cloned. So he looks much older, and he's also been given an accessory that looks very similar to an eye patch, making the distinction between him and Big Boss even more confusing for those who are unfamiliar with the series. But we still have one more snake. The most recent entry, Metal Gear Solid 5, featured a protagonist by the name of Venom Snake, aka Punished Venom Snake. Spoiler warning for MGS5 here, but much like Raiden in MGS2, Venom Snake is not Solid Snake, Big Boss, or any clone thereof. Venom Snake is just some guy who worked for Big Boss that was then basically brainwashed to act as Big Boss and take the heat off the real deal. This brings our number of Snake codenames up to a grand total of 7. Solid, Liquid, Naked, Solidus, Venom, Old Snake, and Raiden. That's a lot of snakes to keep straight, so maybe we should do a quick visual overview. The biggest point of confusion is probably going to be between Solid Snake and Big Boss. This is Solid Snake in his various forms throughout the series, as well as Old Snake way down there on the right, maybe the biggest confuser due to the eye patch, but the mustache is going to let you know that it's Old Snake. We also have Snake from Smash, sort of an amalgamation of Solid Snake and Big Boss, but I think people tend to think of him more as Solid Snake. And this is just a picture of Michael Biehn from the Terminator, but apparently that's what Solid Snake was supposed to look like in the original Metal Gear. Moving on, we have various images of Big Boss as well as Venom Snake here in the middle, looking very similar, but he's got a big stinking horn in his head and a bionic arm. Not too hard to tell the difference. And then we have an older Big Boss here as well as Solidus Snake there on the end. Big Boss has the eye patch on the right, Solidus on the left, but also Solidus is just wearing a mech suit all the time, so that is probably an easier tell. Then we have Liquid Snake, a little confusing as these two are very clearly a different guy, but they're also not. Just take my word for it, it's still Liquid Snake. And then finally we have Raiden in his various forms throughout the series. A little easier to tell the difference because he's only called Snake for a short period of time, but just for clarity's sake, there he is. Maybe some of these are a bit of a stretch, but all this adds up to make it really confusing for outsiders to know who the hell's who. You see it all the time, pictures of Naked Snake being labeled as Solid Snake and vice versa. It's not their fault. It's just really convoluted. But hopefully that's cleared it up a bit. Now you can play Metal Gear Solid with a clear understanding of what's happening. I'm just kidding, there's so much other stuff to confuse you. I've been playing these games for 15 years and I still don't know what's happening. Good luck. Bye.